right, thank you both. So now we're going to have a 10-minute question and answer period for anybody who wants to ask questions to Save, Don't Pave or the Pro Trails. Once we do that, then we're going to have a break, and then we're going to go ahead and get people to sign up to ask questions of our panel, okay? So we're going to, since we have a lot of people that are probably interested in asking questions, we're going to limit it to a 1-minute question and answer for folks from Save, Don't Pave or the Pro Trail. So does anybody have a question that they want to ask? If you come on up here so that you can use this microphone and everyone can hear your question. So, sir in the red.
I believe, Ruth, I do support the comments of Steve Harriman, but my question is, will we have ADA compliance access from Glen Hall Park over the levee? At my age, that's an important question.
So sir, that'll be answered when we talk to the panel versus the two. So, anybody have a question for Save, Don't Pave or the Pro Trails?
Yeah, I do. So, the city has let it be known that the property values will increase as a result of the work being completed. How does Save, Don't Pave feel the property values will react with the improvements?
Yeah, can the two speakers come on up so that we can have them answer their questions?
Hi, I'm Brian. I live on the good end of Madison. For 10 years. I've been working with the Save, Don't Pave folks, and obviously we've been trying to represent concerns of folks all through the community. So no single person can answer to all of those, but I'm happy to answer this one because I actually did go line by line through all of the three studies that were posted for on this issue. According to the National Association of Home Builders, trails are the most desired community amenity that homeowners seek when buying a home. But when you click on that link on the city's website, it just takes you to the National Association of Home Builders website, which is a national lobby organization for the business interests of housing developers. That site currently has a big plea to tell Congress to urge the president to restart the Southwood lumber trade negotiations with Canada, but it doesn't have anything on bike trails. When you look at there's also 3 studies that are literature reviews. And when you look at them, they're mostly talking about whether you have open space, green spaces behind your property, and whether there's access there. So it's comparing whether there's access to open space behind your property, which we have here in River Park right now, versus whether you have just a wild zone where there's currently nobody monitoring it and no way to get through it. And then the last thing is, well, I'll leave it at that.
Does anybody else have a question for, okay. And I forgot to mention that we have Mary Quick here. She's helping do time, so she's got a little sign for folks that are.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Katie Maloney, and I live in River Park. And I have a question for the Save, Don't Pave group, which is the URL is called Protect River Park, and that's what it used to be called until recently the name was changed. And I was wondering what we are saving River Park from, if someone could answer that.
Again, I'm Brian, and I think I can speak for a lot of us here. We're talking about saving the trail in the natural area along the foot of the levee. We're talking not saving River Park from marauding invaders. We're saving River Park. We're saving that area. It's save and don't pave the path at the foot of the levee.
I get save. It's protect.
The Protect River Park was the previous name that they put together, and that was protecting that area again. That's why we changed the name to Save, Don't Pave.
So you're protecting the fire.
Question.
Question?
All right, my name's Patrick Litton, River Park. A question for the Save, Don't Pave. Do you have an opinion on the viability of the paving if it is either on the top of the levee, and we'll discuss that later on, or on the terrace versus the bottom? So I guess the question is, if it is on the top or on the terrace, is that acceptable, or are all alternatives not acceptable?
So that is a really good question and talks to the point of the process where we are right now. And one of the main concerns that I've had and the folks in Save Don't Pave have is that what we're dealing with is, at this point in the process, we're just reacting to the one project that's put in front of us, especially when you're dealing with a mitigated neg deck that does not necessarily have alternatives in it. So what we're responding to is the plan that's on the table, and that's the one that is paving the foot of the levee. We have to respond to that. We have to give our comments on that. That is what the environmental review is going to be done, and that's the decision that's in front of there. As far as the other alternatives and all the other pieces, I'm sure there's a lot of different opinions in this room. I have several different opinions myself, but that is very much the conversation that we would like the city to have with the residents of River Park. Thank you.
We've got time for a couple more questions.
This question is also for Save Don't Pave. We've heard that Save Don't Pave has concerns with something called CPTED, which is an acronym for the letters CPTED. What is this, and what are your concerns?
Yes, that was something that was brought up before, covered pretty well, and it is one of our concerns that right now, one of the potential tools within CPTED, which is the crime prevention through environmental design, is that once an area is being used, one of the ways is one of the ways to treat it is to make it less attractive for continued use. So we've seen this used a few places along the trail and around the city, where they go in and remove a lot of the understory, a lot of the brush that could potentially be used as cover. What we want to make sure is that that is not an option to use along this very narrow wooded area, because it is such a narrow, in some cases just 80 feet from the foot of the levee to the bank of the river, that we want to make sure that that isn't the kind of tool that's being used, that we're going to continue on an ongoing basis to cut away at the vegetation that's here in River Park.
My name is Allison. I live on the bad end of Madison, apparently. My question for Save Don't Pave is, how do you reconcile the current tendency of dog walkers to take their dogs off leash, which is not wildlife friendly, with your desire to protect wildlife?
I actually can't speak to that one because I share that opinion, so I think that that's actually probably a question that's not specific to the project that we're looking at, but yes, there's...
It was explained to me as a reason why I should support Save Don't Pave is to protect the dog walkers who are currently using off-leash.
I'm not prepared to answer that. That's not mine.
My name is John Allen, and I want to speak for my brother-in-law who lives about a mile upriver in La Riviere area. He's lived there for over 25 years, uses the trail over there for biking, for hiking, taking his dogs. Every day or two he's having confrontations with homeless. Their dogs have attacked him, his dogs, and that they play a whack-a-mole game over there where homeless leave during the day and then return at night. How, and this is for both groups, do you see that as a problem here or not?
That's a question for the city. So again, the red button. I guess I would say I'm not totally prepared to answer that. I know that there are currently homeless people in our area. I know that for sure. I agree with the officer who said that areas of the parkway that are not activated tend to be more so. Your example is different. I'm not familiar with that area. I truly do believe that homeless people look for places to be that are hidden and that are out of the way. And I do think that people out there, more activation, more people using it is a deterrent. Is that to say there will never be a homeless camp down there? I think it's unreasonable to make that statement, I don't think that it is. But I do truly believe that they look for areas that are hidden and there are not interactions with other people. So I do believe that the trail is a deterrent.
Hi, I'm Nancy Lehman from Camellia Avenue, and I'm wondering why there isn't a better use of the railroad access, which in fact runs to our great annoyance with noisy, squeaky trains, etc., all along the path to downtown, which if that's the concern for getting there, it's really more of a direct route than anything along the river. And it's already cleared of trees and paved, etc.
So that's more of a question for the panel for after. Are there any other questions that we have first? We have 2 more minutes to go, so we'll have you go and then group next, and then we'll conclude that, and then we can start the break and then the other public comment.
My name is Ken Vanderford. I've lived in the area for 20 plus years. And I've also been on the RPNA board for 4 years as a vice president in the early 2000s. And this is for the group that's opposing the paving, or is in favor of the paving. I'm sure you understand that you go down there and you can see on a daily basis there are many bikers already using it. What difference is it going to make if it's paved or not?
I just think it's such a better level of access for multiple people. I ride a road bike with skinny tires. I could ride it down there, but it's a little bit dangerous to do that. I could put wider tires. But what about people in wheelchairs? What about people with strollers? This is a multi-use trail. There are some very experienced cyclists who currently use it, but I think many of us are not comfortable to do that. And so we could make the same argument about the 32 miles of trail, right? We could all get mountain bikes and not have any paved trail in our parkway. In fact, we have a world-famous, world-renowned trail system that is paved, and I love it, and I use it all the time, and it's wonderful.
For this part.
All right, so my question is also for Save Don't Pave. We heard from the police department, and there's multiple studies. If you do any research on this, you can see that there's been all sorts of communities that, more than 350 different communities that find the same results, that trails tend to reduce crime and tend to make it less attractive for the homeless. So my question for Save Don't Pave is, do you have any statistics or studies that back up your position that says that this is going to increase crime and increase homelessness in the area? Thanks, Chris. I'm glad you brought that up, because I had more to say on this, because I did spend the hours and days looking through all of those studies that were posted on the city's website as part of those literature reviews. And most of those studies that looked at the impacts of housing prices were based solely on surveys asking homeowners, like we heard the anecdotal evidence before, or realtors, if they feel that housing prices have gone up or down. The most comprehensive study that actually looked at market data was in 1987. It was in a single municipality, and it was in Sacramento. Most of the studies compared prices of neighborhoods along Greenway versus those without access to the Greenway, rather than comparing prices before and after construction of paved access. So the applicability has been a little bit strained. That is, all they tell us is that the prices would be higher in River Park due to its proximity to the river corridor, and nothing about the paving of a bike trail. And then in one of the cited studies in there that are listed there, that actually looked, home prices for the houses that directly border on the trail tended to go down slightly. Some of the studies did look at the effects of crime rates. Burglary did not tend to go up, although the authors of that study said that burglary might in fact increase if the trail connected to nearby industrial areas, which is potentially what the Two Rivers Trail would do. Vandalism and litter did go up, but nearby residents said they could live with it. None of the studies discussed illegal camping or any impacts to the natural environment. If there's something in those studies that are in those 3 links that are posted there that the city thinks is relevant to our situation in River Park in this project, I very much would encourage them to highlight it and explain it, point us to it, because I've read through all of those and I am not finding it.
Thank you. So now we're at the time where we're going to take a 10-minute break. If you are interested in providing a comment or a question to the panel, Renee is going to be taking signups, and what we'll do is first I have a list of questions that I'm going to go through from people who submitted before the meeting to get answered, and then we'll open it up to anyone who has a question or comment. So right now, let's take a 10-minute break, and then